In the world of sports, I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Dip Dipianco. Watch the game live in our past episodes on demand on the Pilipinas Live app.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. It's winner-take-all Wednesday in both the men's and women's UAAP after huge upsets rock the league. Tonight, let's take a closer look at the heart-stopping win of the NU Lady Bulldogs with head coach, Coach Aris Dimaunahan. Coach, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, Coach.
Hi, good evening and hi sa lahat ng viewers on the game. Good afternoon to everyone.
Coach Aris, first of all, congratulations on extending it to a Game 3, a crucial Game 3. This series is a lot closer than I'm sure a lot of NU fans would appreciate. And of course, can you tell us a bit about yung matchup nyo, the first two games, how the series has developed, and of course, how it is looking forward dito sa game number 3 ninyo?
I thought it was, both games were like quality basketball games for both schools. And ayun, yung plan namin last game was to stay alive, and I thought we did a great job of doing our job that game on that game 2 na buhay pa kami, and we have a chance to win it tomorrow.
Coach Aris, prior to game number 1, yung last finals loss niyo was back 10 years ago. Paano yung locker room niyo after that loss in game number 1? Anong sinabi mo sa ladies? Paano mag-bounce back into game number 2? Did you have a specific game plan or you just took what you had planned all throughout the season?
The mindset was just to move on and learn from the mistakes that we did on game 1 and back to the drawing board. And I had a meeting with everyone na kailangan mag-improve kami on game 2, and I thought we did improve on how we conducted ourselves during game 2 than in game 1.
Coach, if we could ask you to center yourself lang sa camera natin kasi medyo nakaputol po yung ulo nyo. Obviously, looking at the numbers here, the statistics here for the NU Bulldogs against UST there, the points of turnover sa last game ninyo, that was something I think that could be improved on. 19-9 in favor, not in favor of your team. Could you tell us a bit about what happened there and of course, paano nyo ito ma-address?
So, I thought in the first game, UST had 18 fast break points against us, and during the game 2, we had more fast break points than them. So I thought kung sino yung makakapag-dictate ng tempo would have a really great chance of bagging the crown tomorrow.
Well, Coach Aris, after game 1, dikit yung laban na yun, 76-72 in favor of UST. Game number 2 was even closer, 72-70, your team won, and one of your veterans stepped up to the plate na si Camille Clarin. Did you give any specific instructions to her dahil bilang isang veterano, sabi mo, she has to lead the team? Kasi given her numbers in game number 1 and game number 2, she scored 18 points. Did you tell her specifically na, CC, you have to step up for NU here in game number 2?
Particularly in defense. I thought in game 1, all of us were not on point with what we were trying to do, and I just challenged them to play a little bit better, especially on the defensive side. And yung mindset namin was to fuel our offense with our defense.
Coach, taking a look at some of the numbers here from mga Gilas veterans nyo po, itong si Carl Pingol, Angel Sorada, and Steph Barbarabe, it feels like they started to play to yung level nila, individually speaking, because we all know kung ano yung quality nila. Gaano ka-importante, Coach, that empowered sila to actually play to the level that they are capable of doing? Because there have been a few instances in the past wherein siguro numbers-wise, it didn't reach yung expectations ng lahat.
It was huge for us that those two girls that you mentioned showed up and put up numbers during game 2. Talagang malaking bagay yun for us kasi yun nga, our backs were against the wall, and there's no tomorrow for us if hindi namin makuha yung game na yun. And I'm just happy that they stepped up their game and they contributed a lot better than game 1 during game 2.
Coach Aris, without giving away anything that you've planned for game number 3. We don't want you to tell your strategy coming into that game.
Or
Pero
pwede naman.
Oh.
Baka mind games to.
what are your expectations for this game 3? Will it be defense pa rin is the key for your NU Lady Bulldogs, or are there some other factors that you're looking into heading into game number 3?
We're just gonna leave everything on the floor tomorrow. Yun yung mindset namin. We worked so hard for the entire year for this day, and we'll give ourselves the chance to conduct ourselves in a better way so that we could have a better chance of claiming what we dream of for this year.
Coach Aris, I know we're here to talk about the NU Lady Bulldogs here and especially the series, but then what can you say about UST this season in particular? Because this has been one of the more closely contested women's finals that we've had in recent years, and the fight that they're showing, the quality and the pathway to the championship seems a lot harder than it was in the past 2 years para sa NU.
Yeah, the addition of Kenji and Pastrana to their roster was pretty huge. Yun yung parang sa tingin ko makes a big difference from their previous rosters. Right now they have an extra arsenal sa gera. So yun, give credit to them for landing that player to their roster. And hopefully, yeah, tomorrow we could do something about her scoring because she is really a bucket getter.
Coach Aris, your 8th bid is still alive dito sa ating women's basketball tournament. What is the toughest lesson, I guess, that you've learned all throughout this season? Dahil nga nabanggit ni Pau, ito siguro yung pinaka-challenging compared to the other final series that you've had. Ano yung mga natutunan nyo na in this entire season and also the final series?
Just to play this game from the get-go to the final buzzer. We cannot have some moments wherein meron mga lapses na sunod-sunod. So that is one great lesson that we had this year, and hopefully tomorrow we could address that, and hopefully we could get that win tomorrow. We'll do our best to really give ourselves chance to get that championship tomorrow.
Coach, what can we expect from your girls going into this from a mindset perspective, from a perspective of focus? Are we going to see cold-blooded killers out there? Are we going to see all the emotions that brought out through the entire season? What can we expect from your girls from the starting tip to the very end?
Yeah, bibigyan lang namin lahat namin bukas. Bubuhos kami lahat. Every single person andun bukas for our team. Bibigyan namin yung best namin for one last game for this year.
Coach Aris, we wish you the best of luck. It's been a great series so far, a great watch as well. Again, you can catch it all on the Pilipinas Live app and website. Really appreciate your time, Coach, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you very much also for having me here. Ingat kayo. Thank you.
All right, so after the break, we'll preview the do or die Game 3 in the UAAP Women's Basketball Tournament. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back. You're watching the game. Game 3 is in our midst, which means it's time to break down what happened and what to expect in the final game of the UAAP Season 86 Women's Basketball Tournament. Joining us to help dissect the numbers is UAAP basketball analyst Melissa Newsome, joined by Dip Tipianco on the big screen. Dip, take it away!
Thank you, Pao. I'm here with Melissa Newsome. Mel, you've played the game before. You know how it feels like being on this stage. What did you see in the final series so far in the past 2 games between NU and UST?
Yes, well, this is definitely one of the most exciting finals we've seen in years. Like I said before, UST is giving NU a run for their money, and it's been so exciting to watch, and I have no idea what's going to be the outcome each and every game.
You are an analyst. You've covered these 2 teams during the elimination round. Is there anything special that they changed heading into the finals compared to the eliminations?
Yes, well, both teams have already been at the top of the statistical categories all season long, so the numbers we've seen them put in the finals aren't surprising, and it's just a matter of who could execute on a consistent basis.
Well, let's take a look at the numbers during game number 2 between NU and UST. This happened last Sunday. What do you see here? What's the story between NU and UST in that game?
Yes, well, the biggest difference for NU in Game 2 was the field goal percentage. They were shooting a lot more efficient, and I like that they picked their shots better offensively, so they seemed to find their offensive flow. And again, just like in Game 1, they out-rebounded UST well, and particularly in offensive rebounds. They had 22 offensive rebounds, and that led to 13 second-chance points. So again, they excelled at that in Game 1, but they were consistent with it here in this game.
Not a huge disparity in terms of the shooting, but you look at the rebounds and points of turnovers. That's where NU took advantage over UST. Let's dig deeper this time, Mel. I want to talk about a few key players here for both teams. Unahin natin for the NU Lady Bulldogs. We've touched on it a while ago with Coach Aris. Camille Clarin, she was big in games 1 and 2, scoring 18 points each. What do you think of her performance so far? Does she need more, or is this enough for CC to sustain in Game 3?
You know, you could always use more, but CC has been doing great for this team, and I think one thing that stands out aside from the numbers is her leadership on that court. Every time her team makes a turnover or her teammates seem to be flustered, she's talking to them, motivating them, and really calming them down. And I think that's what she brings to this team the most.
You mentioned it, you'll always need more, either from CC or the rest of the players. And for the NU Lady Bulldogs, some of those that stepped up are Carl Pingol and also Princess Fabruada, who had sort of a breakout game in that finals. What do you think of their performances in that game number 2?
Well, Carl, all season long, she's been in the top 3 for the leaders of NU players. So again, one thing that's really been a focus on her is her efficiency, and she's excelled at that greatly this season. But Princess was the big breakout star of this game. Heading into the finals, she was only averaging 6 points a game. So for her to have 13 points, that's huge. And I think that contributed to why they were able to pull away with this win.
She doubled her average. You mentioned 6.6 points in the eliminations. Do you think Princess Fabruada can be that X factor in Game 3, or would you think someone else from that NU bench will step up?
Oh, she definitely can, but I think it doesn't have to be her. Any player from that NU squad can step up, and as long as they produce these same numbers, that's going to make all the difference.
All right, enough of the NU Lady Bulldogs for now. Lipat tayo for the UST team this time around. Bridget Santos, in her games 1 and 2, it's sort of a dip, no? Pagbaba ng game number 2, yung performance niya from double-digit scoring, naging 4 points lang. What do you think was lacking for her in game number 2?
For Bridget Santos, I think she had that big breakout game, and I think maybe there was a lot of pressure on her coming into this game too. But I think she just needs to relax, play her game, because when we've seen her at her best, you see the numbers she's able to put up. And I think one thing that should be a point of emphasis for her is her turnovers. She did have 7 turnovers in this game, so she needs to really take care of the ball. That way she could facilitate more for her team.
That sort of cancels out her 7 assists as well, right? But we know that if she's struggling to shoot with 4 points, she can also distribute the ball. So would you want Bridget to go for like a sort of playmaking style in Game 3, or would you want her to still keep shooting the shots?
Both. Whatever the NU Lady Bulldogs give her, I think that's what she should do. So if the shot's open, she's capable of making it. But again, she's a great facilitator, so they could benefit from her assists as well.
All right, so we look forward to game number 3, and one matchup that you want to see between these 2 teams, Angel Sorada and Tantoy Ferrer for these 2 squads. Unahin natin si Angel Sorada. What do you think can she bring to the table for Coach Aris Dimaunahan in game number 3?
Well, she's a very energy player. She's a hustle player, and one thing I like about both of these players is their rebounding and their ability. As we've seen, they're not always the highest scorers in the game, but the energy they bring and how they fight for those rebounds make all the difference.
What about Tantoy Ferrer for UST? I mean, Coach Heidi Ong needs all the players. Tantoy Ferrer is someone that we have to look forward to, look out for in game number 3.
Most definitely. She is a Mythical 5 member this season, coming off a ACL injury, and she's exploded this season. We've seen she's always been a rebounding player. I've played against her, and I had to box her out multiple times. But one thing she's added to her arsenal this season is her scoring. So if she could continue to score and then in Game 3 step up her rebounds a little bit, that's going to help UST.
So Tantoy Fair is now a vet for UST. We look forward to what they will do as the matchup for NU and UST. But we know, Mel, that of course the 8-peat bid still alive for NU, but it's pretty tough, right? It's challenging. What do you think changed this season? Is it that NU sort of lost a lot of their superstars, or did UST just up their game from the previous season?
Not only UST, I think all the teams each season, they're upping their game because they have to compete against teams like the Lady Bulldogs. And the only way to compete with them is that you grow and get better. So UST, they had additions this season of Kent Pastrana, and I think she was the final puzzle piece. And again, it's going to be an exciting game tomorrow. And I have no idea who's going to win, and I think that's what makes this season so special.
Right, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. If you can name one strength of NU and USC that they should bank on in game number 3, what will it be for NU that will get them the championship, or for UST Growling Tigresses? Unahin natin yung NU.
Well, if I could answer for both teams, I think whichever team controls the tempo of this game is going to be the one to win. And I think USC excels at a fast-paced game, but that's their double-edged sword, because if they play too fast, that's when they wind up making the wrong decisions and turning over the ball. So I think whoever's going to dictate the pace and tempo of this game is going to come out the champions.
Oh, we'll keep our eyes close on that game. 12 noon tomorrow for NU Lady Bulldogs and the USC Growling Tigresses. Game 3 of the women's basketball finals in the UAAP Season 86. Thank you so much, Mel, for breaking down game number 3 for us.
Thank you for having me. Excited for tomorrow.
All right, so that was Mel alongside Dip there at the big screen breaking down game number 3 and what to expect. Of course, let's see if she's right come game number 3. But for now, after the break, we'll shift to the NBA in-season tournament. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. back. You're watching The Game. As the NBA in-season tournament quarterfinals kicks off today, two teams have now punched their ticket to the semis. Let's take a look at the bracket here as we break down the in-season tournament. Pero Dip, let's be completely honest here as we have the bracket here, the Pelicans and the Pacers moving forward. There was a time wherein we cared a lot more kasi nandiyan pa yung mga team natin. I have to admit, there's a tinge of jealousy na wala na tayo dito, but it really adds a different level of excitement at this time of the calendar in the season, that the in-season tournaments here.
I know, I agree with you, Pao. I was watching closely when our teams were there, Utah and Dallas, but since we're eliminated, our focus is on the remaining teams. Particularly, let's focus first on the East side of things for Indiana. Surprising, or maybe not surprising, that they beat the Boston Celtics a while ago. Tyrese Halliburton carrying the load for this team. What did you see the game earlier?
Yeah, no, I saw parts of it. Pero kasi syempre, you take a look at this and then I think a lot of people are getting used to the fact that knockouts na. Knockouts yung laro natin dito. So you take a look at the fact that the Pacers getting one over the Celtics. Siguro on paper, sasabihin ng lahat that the Celtics are the ones that should make it through. But then you have a guy like Tyrese Halliburton there, a triple-double, his first career triple-double. And a lot of people are now saying that, okay, baka ito na nga. This is one of the guys that are not tradable, very important. And not a lot of people would have said that, okay, Indiana will have a lot of success this season. And if they make it all the way towards the finals and maybe coming home with the in-season trophy, you never know. It could be a completely different story for them.
I'm actually surprised this is Tyrese's first triple-double, but I guess timing is right for Indiana. They got this win over the Boston Celtics. Another game that happened in the Western Conference a while ago, New Orleans Pelicans defeating Sacramento Kings 127-117. Brandon Ingram, of all the games that he could come alive, this is the game that he chose against the Kings. And I'm not surprised because, Pao, this is the team that reached the playoffs last season, so they can do. They have what it takes to get to the end of this in-season tournament.
Yeah, you know, but again, Sacramento Kings, at least on paper, would be the team that a lot of people expected to beat, to win, actually. But then with a knockout, you never know. Actually, may theory ako eh. The reason why the Pelicans won is because they found out that Boom Gonzalez is flying over there and they want to win for Boom.
I know.
But all joking aside here, again, this just goes to show the amount of, well, we don't know what's going to happen. The ball is tipped, especially with a knockout game, a knockout series here for the entire in-season tournament.
I understand because these players are playing for $500,000 per player if they go on to win. So I'm not surprised why they're performing this well in the in-season tournament.
Absolutely, and there's a lot more to watch out for when it comes to all of that.
Right. Catch the do-or-die games in the UAAP men's and women's basketball tomorrow in our show live and on demand on the Pilipinas Live app for just 149 pesos a month. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dip Dipianco.
And I'm Paolo De Rosario. This has been The Game.